Hey guys, what's going on? Garanax here, bringing you another video on 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross. So apparently the King of Fighters collaboration is coming one day earlier. Normally the update will be on Tuesdays, but they seem to have brought the update one day ahead. So the update is actually just roughly about 1 hour away from the time I post this video. So here's the overview of the update. So there are these 4 new characters from the collaborations. There'll be Hawk Pass, Special Missions, and Final Boss Omega Rugal, and the Athena gift box. So the 4 new characters will be Kyo Kusanagi, Omega Rugal, Mai Shiranui, and Athena Asamiya. And surprise surprise, Halloween Gowther is here as well. I was not expecting this because JP just got this new unit last week or the week before, so I didn't expect that Halloween Gowther would be coming to global so soon. This could potentially mess up everyone's plan, because this is a completely new unit that JP just got and is already here in global almost immediately. I can understand that since it's a Halloween unit, if they want to release this unit in the future, they will have to do it exactly 1 year later, so that could be too far away for them. But at the same time, this could potentially mean that Goddess Liz, Wing King, and Demon Hendrickson can come to global at any time. That is worrying, but we'll just have to wait and see. Then you can play through the story quests and get rewards like diamonds, evolution pendants, chests, and things like that. And there is also the final boss Omega Rugal. You can farm the points and use those points at the exchange shop to get the costumes and other rewards like diamonds, Part 1 SSR tickets, limit break materials, and other types of rewards. And there's a Hawk Pass, and all the cosmetics for the KOF characters will be available in the shop as well. There are also some special bundles for the paying players. And there's a normal PvP season. If you are placed at the top 100 by the end of the season, you get some diamonds and anvils. But seriously, the rewards are just not that attractive. You have to get first place just to get 100 diamond and 150 anvils, which if you can get first place, you would probably be one of the top players already and your team would have been all done. And if you are placed between 51 and 100, you get 10 diamonds and 50 anvils, when Champion 5 already gives you 50 diamonds. So the rewards are just not worth the effort. If you are already a top player, then go for it. These are extra rewards for you. If you are not there yet, I wouldn't bother even try. Then the 4 collab units will be getting their UR gear as well. There are also some system improvements and quality of life improvements. And damage over time debuffs have all been buffed. So Shock, Poison, and Bleed will deal more damage after the update. And there are some buffs to the skills of Titan Eren, Red SSR Elizabeth, and Red Esterosa. And all of Gowther's basic stats seems to have been buffed as well. Then there are some minor bug fixes, and these events and bundles will be ending after the update. So let's take a look at the new units that we are getting. First one is Kyo Kusanagi. His first skill inflicts cold destruction damage equals to 170% of attack on one enemy on rank 1. On rank 2 is 255%, and on rank 3 is 425%. And cold destruction has a 20% increased damage per debuff on the target. This is the same skill as Red Esterosa. His second skill inflicts scorch damage equals to 100% of attack on all enemies on rank 1. On rank 2 is 150%, and on rank 3 is 250%. And scorch increases the damage dealt by 25% per ignite on the target. His ultimate inflicts damage equals to 490% of attack on one enemy, applies 2 ignites effect for 3 turns on all enemies. This is 1/6, and when you get him up to 6/6, the multiplier goes up to 725%. And his passive at the start of every turn applies 2 ignite effects for 3 turns on all enemies. For each ignite effects on the enemy, reduces the damage dealt to allies by 5%, excluding deathmatch. He's a great damage dealer, and at the same time is able to protect your allies a little bit by reducing the damage they take. Everything in his kit is all about ignite, so he will pair very well with Monspeed, Green Escanor, and Malascula. These are the units that will place ignite debuffs on the enemy, allowing Kyo to do his things. So since his entire kit is all about damage, you want to go with attack and defense set. And the next unit is Mai Shiranui. Her first skill inflicts damage equals to 120% of attack on one enemy and depletes 1 ultimate move gauge. That is on rank 1. On rank 2 is 300% of attack and depletes 1 ultimate move gauge. And on rank 3 is 450% of attack and depletes 3 ultimate move gauge. This is the same skill as Green Merlin. Her second skill inflicts amplify damage equals to 100% of attack on all enemies on rank 1. On rank 2 is 150%, and on rank 3 is 250%. and amplifies increases damage dealt by 30% per active buff on the hero. And her ultimate inflicts damage equals to 630% of attack on one enemy, increases the ranks of all of the hero's skills. This is 1/6. When you get her up to 6/6, the damage multiplier goes up to 945%. And her passive, when the hero's skills are ranked up, increases basic stats by 15% for 2 turns. So every time she ults, she ranks up her own cards and gives herself a 15% boost in basic stats. So you definitely want to put her in an ult rush team, so she can constantly use ult and keep the basic stats buff active for as long as possible. She also has an amplify card, so having a buffer in your team would be pretty good as well. Gear wise, you want to go with attack defense set as well to take advantage of the buff and amplify cards, so she can deal more damage. The third unit is Athena Asamiya. Her first skill inflicts damage equals to 240% of attack on one enemy on rank 1. On rank 2 is 360% of attack, and on rank 3 cancels stances on one enemy and inflicts damage equals to 500% of attack, then stuns for 1 turn. Her second skill inflicts detonate damage equals to 160% of attack on one enemy on rank 1. On rank 2 is 240% and on rank 3 is 400%, and detonate has a 20% additional damage per orb in the target's ultimate move gauge. And her ultimate cancels stances on one enemy and inflicts damage equals to 700% of attack. That is 1/6. On 6/6, the multiplier goes up to 1050%. And her passive, when allies defeat enemies on allies' turns, reduce all enemies' ultimate move gauge by 2 orbs at the end of your turn in PvP. Her kits are decent, but her passive sort of contradicts her own skill, since detonate deals additional damage based on the enemy's ultimate move gauge. By removing the ultimate move gauge from enemy, she will lower her own damage output. But of course, removing the ultimate move gauge helps to ensure your team's survivability, so I feel she is more of a support unit rather than a damage dealer. So gear wise, I would go with HP defense to make sure she stays alive for as long as possible. And the last KOF unit will be Omega Rugal. His first skill inflicts pierce damage equals to 100% of attack on all enemies on rank 1. On rank 2 is 150% and on rank 3 is 250%. This is the exact same pierce cards as Blue Demon Melee. His second skill inflicts damage equals to 180% of attack on one enemy, decreases attack related stats by 20% for 1 turn, that is rank 1. On rank 2 is 180% of attack and decreases attack related stats by 30% for 1 turn. And on rank 3 is 300% of attack and decreases attack related stats by 40% for 2 turns. And his ultimate inflicts charge damage equals to 700% of attack on one enemy, and charge ignores defense. And this is 1/6, and if you get him up to 6/6, the multiplier goes up to 1050%. And his passive, when the hero survives with HP below 50%, removes debuffs and fully heals HP, increases stats by 15% once per battle. So basically he has 2 lives, or 1.5 lives. This also means that a Pierce team will not be able to 1-turn kill him, so he has a lot of potential to make a comeback, especially when his Pierce cards has the same multiplier as Blue Demon Melee, and he has a base Pierce rate of 55%. So if you stack up his Pierce rates, he could deal some insane damage. Gear wise, you definitely want to go with attack defense with Pierce substats, that will boost his damage further. And lastly is Halloween Gowther. His first skill inflicts damage equals to 120% of attack on all enemies, depletes 1 ultimate move gauge at the end of the enemy's turn for 1 turn. This is on rank 1. On rank 2 is 120% of attack and depletes 2 ultimate move gauge at the end of the enemy's turn for 1 turn. And on rank 3 is 180% of attack and depletes 2 ultimate move gauge at the end of the enemy's turn for 2 turns. His second skill is the same as Red Gowther, increases skill ranks of 1 ally on rank 1. On rank 2 increases skill ranks of all allies, and on rank 3 increases skill ranks of all allies and increases basic stats by 20% for 3 turns. And his ultimate is the same as Red Gowther as well, inflicts damage equals to 350% of attack on all enemies and depletes 3 ultimate move gauge. And if you pair him up with King as the association, the damage is 400% and depletes 5 ultimate move gauge. That is on 1/6. On 6/6, the multiplier goes up to 525% and 600% respectively. And his passive increases all allies' attack related stats by 7% at the start of every turn, if all allies in the battles are of different races. Limit to 5 times, applies when entering battles, resets when 2 of the same race exist. His entire kit counters ult rush team. Since you need to end the turn with full ult gauge to be able to get your ult next turn, by using his first skill debuff, your ult gauge will be removed at the end of the turn, so you can't get your ult the next turn. And his passive greatly increases your team's attack related stats when they are all of different races. So this is an upgrade from the red Gowther passive because you don't have to worry about getting hit. As long as your team is of different races, then you'll be able to utilize his passive. Gear wise, definitely go with HP in defense so he can stay alive for as long as possible. If you have made full defense gears for red Gowther, you can use that as well. So, should you summon or skip? I would say yes if you love these characters, and yes if you have the gems. But as I mentioned earlier in the video, now that they actually released a character that has just came out on JP, that could possibly mean that all the festive units can come to global out of nowhere as well. So if you are free to play, or if you want to be more conservative, I would suggest you to skip this banner and save for Goddess Liz, Wing King and Demon Hendrickson. Of course, there will be some free tickets through the events as well, so you can try your luck using those tickets. So that's all about this update. If you wish to discuss more about the game, consider joining my Discord, link will be in the description below. And as always, like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. That's it for today, take care and have a great day ahead.